Hello, I'm Jen Lynn Roberts of Present Path Tarot. I offer down to earth, authentic readings that give a lot of compassion and humor. And I love to teach people how to read the cards because I think we all have the ability to access this incredible tool. Today, we're going to talk about when and where. So, I'm not a huge fan of having exactness in this field of when and where. Many times, things will happen when the querent is ready for them to happen. So, when you get a major arcana card, when you're pulling maybe one card for a when question, try to consider that that card might be about when you overcome this challenge. When you overcome your tower card, you'll be ready for the love you're seeking. When you face your shadow with the moon card, you'll be ready for, you know, the job you're desiring. So, the major arcana cards, I think it's best to really look at them as when in your mythic path you cross that rite of passage, then you'll get through to it. Sometimes also it might be advice, like it might say, oh, the Empress card. Maybe you need to talk to your mom about that to help you make it speed along faster. So I like to see that the answer comes in layered meanings when we're looking at when things are going to happen. The other aspect of when can come from the minor arcana cards. And in that case, again, you can take the meaning of the card and say, oh, well, that's going to happen when you go to a party because it's a Three of Cups. Or you work really hard at your job because it's the Eight of Pentacles. So you can still take the meaning of the card. But one fun way to do it is if you give yourself a question and you only ask one card. So, when is this going to happen? And you can pull one card. Let's say you get a minor arcana. One way to look at this is that you could consider it in the seasonal sense. The swords are winter. That's when we get very thoughtful and more introverted, and it's cold out, and the metal in a lot of the cards is related to the winter season. Cups is spring, so that's when things are ripe and artistic and creative. Summer is very hot with wands. So we have fire and action and doing things quickly. And then Pentacles is fall with the harvest and the gathering of things and rooting into home for the season. So that's one way you can look at it is, okay, this will happen in that season. Another way you can look at it is, and this is somewhat arbitrary, you get to pick your own design around this. You can say, okay, the cups, I'm going to say, are months. The wands are very fast, so I'm going to say those are days. The pentacles, my to-do list fits really well in a week, so I'm going to say that's a week. And swords, thought changes over a long period of time, so I'm going to say that's a year. You can make up your own system. You can make it into minutes or seconds. You can make it into decades or centuries. Have fun with it. But that's the system I personally use. So with the when of things, I think it's really important to let yourself be playful with this. If you're going to ask a silly question like, what day am I going to die? And then you pull and it's like, tomorrow. That's on you for asking a ridiculous question. You don't know that. The cards are probably not going to tell you that because the cards know that it's probably better not to let you know that information. So they might mess with you if you go into silly ranges like that. And I still want to stick with the idea that when you're pulling a when question, you need to kind of consider the aspect, like if it's wands, maybe it's going to be faster, but it might be giving you advice to get your butt in gear. With the cups, it might be a little bit more of a flow, and you might want to kind of look around for what the coincidences are happening around you. You might want to consider some creative task you can do that would inspire that to happen. And if you get swords, you really want to get thoughtful about that thing to make it happen. You really want to start studying it more fully. And with pentacles, you need to start somehow making an actual resource occur with it. Like, for instance, if you're looking for love and you're like, when's love going to come? You get the pentacles. Well, you need to put yourself online in a resourceful way, or you need to go to a gathering where you know you're going to meet people. There's a sense of what's your work behind it going on? What practical steps are you taking? That's my favorite way of looking at these, aspects of the cards of when and where. So going into where, the suits can also be designated, and again, this can be arbitrary, but traditionally, swords is in the north, and that's again the cold, and wands is in the south, which again is the hot. Pentacles is in the east, because the sun rises in the east. It's the beginning of the day, and cups are in the west. I think it's because we're on an the ocean is to the west of us in our culture and in European culture. Um, but I think it also something about the sun setting. Maybe that's more the creative time because we're going into night. So that's a where kind of thought. You also can look at the card. What's going on in the card? Pentacles, home, work. Is there actually a farm in the picture? Maybe you need to go to a farm. Wands, are you out and about? You're having a good time, you're partying, you're dancing. That might be even exercising, going to the gym. Swords could be a place of intellectual work where you're really tutoring or studying. School could even be a library, but somewhere where intellectual pursuits are happening. Cups is a more artistic or spiritual place, so maybe a performance or a more costume creative party. And remember that with this where system, as with the when system, you can create your own design so long as you're consistent. For the sake of your querents, if you're going to pick a thing and say, okay, swords are north, then make that north. But you can always layer the cards and say, it would say go north, but I also want to point out that this person is in a bed and it makes me think that they need more rest. And I think that, you need to go where there's a place of people resting. Does that make sense? That you want to kind of think organically as to what the card is trying to tell you as its own nature and its own meaning. And then you can also look at your arbitrary setting of the direction that you would put that or the place you would put that. So, yeah, again, with the major arcana, I would say you might want to come through that current phase. And the where, another aspect to consider with the major arcana with where is look at the background. What's going on in the background? Are there mountains? Is there a river? Is there an ocean? Maybe they need to go to that place that's actually pictured. That's the most literal answer you can get, right? So this is some ways that you can think about when and where things are happening in the cards. I hope this is helpful to you. And I highly recommend that if you have a friend who you can play with tarot right now, that you ask your partner a when or where question and play with it and see, pull only a few cards and try to determine an answer for them. Maybe make it a short-term answer so you can see if you actually get results. Thanks for joining today. Again, my name is Jenna with Present Path Tarot. Come get a reading from me or a lesson in how to read the cards and subscribe to the page. You also can come to my website and join my email list to get in touch with me more often. Thanks so much and have a lovely day.